Hauntcast.
Halloween and horror. Served chilled.
Shocktails.
Welcome into the last bar on the left for your monthly dose of toxic buffoonery. The cover charge, as always, is to like, comment, follow, subscribe, and share with your haunt and Halloween friends. Tonight is 80s night, so let's electric slide our way down to the back booth to join Johnny Thunder, whose drinking is already in progress. Mr. Thunder.
What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey. Getting through the dreary, dull,
January.
Pre-convention season. Yeah,
January was a pretty long year. I mean,
yeah. The worst month, January and February, the two worst months of the year.
Honestly, dude.
Just got to get through them, man.
Seriously, like I said, my birthday's like early January, and then it's like until March. It's like you have to, especially here in the Northeast, right? Like I'm always like, I love like the fall. Like I love that we have a fall and a spring and a summer, but I'm like, this winter is like, damn.
Yeah, it's been a chilly one for sure. The coldest one I can remember in a while. So yeah, it's like no outside work being done. There's no props. I'm working on my my foolish Lucy kitchen, as you call it. So
yeah, your mid-century. Yeah. Well, everybody has to have a hobby.
It's a mashup. It's a mashup between Grandma's kitchen, a diner, and a googie coffee shop. So it's like I mashed the whole thing into one. It's completely exaggerated, like my take on what a 50s kitchen diner soda shop would be, but yeah.
But what makes me laugh is like you're talking about like maybe you eventually soon want to like sell and like move, and I'm like, dude, you're fixing it up to be like a fun house. Like you're gonna have to look for a very specific buyer.
What I'm gonna have to do is like strip all this stuff off.
Knock down the whole house.
Strip
lot for sale. Lot for sale.
Strip the whole thing down and paint and give it like a plain coat of white paint.
White, just white with beige carpeting.
Yeah.
I'm always like, that's really cool, and I'm like, yikes!
But who's gonna want to buy? I know you're gonna have to find a very special person to be excited by my crazy house.
Like you said, the I Love Lucy cosplayer. Like maybe she'll move in. I don't know.
Awesome. So anyway, we've got a couple of movies to dive into. You've got The Damned and The Wolfman.
No, not The Wolfman.
Oh, The Wolf. Wolf.
Just Wolfman.
Man. Oh, okay, got it.
Yes, because that.
And there's a space between the wolf and man.
Yes, and that's part of. All right, did you catch it, or is this just me?
It just looked like such a giant turd. I just said.
So I took another one for the show. Is that what you're telling me?
You did, right on the chin.
All right. Yikes!
I know.
Between taking it on the chin and you saying we're gonna loop up and slide down to I was like, what?
I meant to punch, not the other thing.
Yeah. So, okay. So, Wolfman.
What was that thing, Blake?
It sounded like an animal. But I swear to God, it was standing on 2 feet.
Daddy, are we gonna die?
No, it's my job to protect you.
Oh! What's wrong with Daddy?
He got sick.
Blake, Daddy's scaring me! Blake, stop!
Wolfman is the latest from Blumhouse of their Universal Monster redos. I think in 2020 we had their version of The Invisible Man. This, of course, now is their take on Wolfman. Again, not to be confused with The Wolfman, or The Wolfman is just Wolfman. It's the story of a husband and a wife and their little daughter who have to go back to his father's cabin up in the woods. I think it's in Oregon somewhere, and try to clean it out because the father's been declared dead. In the midst of it, of course, there's this bizarre animal attack, and what we have is a story of survival of a husband and a wife and a daughter, and the gradual infection of the husband who devolves into some sort of infected monster creature. And we see the mother and the daughter trying to fight for their survival during the course of one evening. So that's the basic plot of this. So I'm just going to say, I don't think you were necessarily wrong for skipping this. For me, this is a one and done. I saw it and I would never watch this again. There's a couple things going on here. First would be the fact that it's called Wolfman, right? Again, we've been making a joke. It's not the Wolfman. It's just called Wolfman. When you have something like that and it's being presented as a reinterpretation of Universal monsters and the Universal film, there's expectations that go along with that, right? You've got certain preconceived notions as horror fans, as monster kids, as fans of the classic Universal guys of what that means, right? And I don't want to say baggage that comes along with the title, but there's also a certain level of respect or reverence, at least in my mind, especially what we see with the Dark Universe park being built by Universal right now in Florida. They are recreating their 30s original monsters into like a theme park, and the character designs of the different characters and animatronics are stellar. They're amazing. People were just flipping out looking at them like, oh my God, I love this little sort of reinterpretation of the Wolfman. I love how they've sort of updated a little Dracula and the Frankenstein monster and the creature, and it just looks amazing. It just really brings the classic monsters of the 30s forward, but still respecting the past. So again, when you announce something like this, I think we all have an idea, despite their Invisible Man movie from a couple years ago. Now, I know a lot of people loved it, and I think the box office was huge for that. I wasn't a fan. I wasn't really into it, and again, I think I was in the minority on that one. So that's the first issue, when you announce that you're doing Wolfman. The second issue is you've got to have characters that people care about or you're invested in. And in a film like this, there are ostensibly 3 characters in the entire hour and a half. I think it's the husband, the wife, and the daughter. There's a flashback with the main character's dad, and there's a neighbor who's in the movie for like 5 minutes. So again, you're kind of left with, it's just sort of a family drama of a husband, a wife, and their little girl. If you want to do that, you got to make them likable or interesting or have the audience care about them. I had none of those feelings about any of these people. Literally within 10 minutes, I'm like, can they just all fall in a hole? I just didn't care, and I wasn't interested in the least. Which leads me to the third point, the story. You've got to have a story. Now, that being said, if you want to just have a small movie where it's a couple characters trapped in a house, but you're going to go balls to the wall with gore or special effects and just be over the top, then you go, well, look, hey, go into this movie. There's not a lot of plot, but it's bonkers and it's crazy to look at. This isn't that either. And the biggest sin is it's boring. It is just a boring film. I didn't really care about where it went. It adhered to none of the mythology of werewolves. It had nothing to do with the Lon Chaney version or the 2010 remake, which again, I loved. And I think I was in the minority on that one too. I know you dug that one. I loved it. I don't understand.
It's a 43 on Metacritic, and I just don't understand.
And I think it made 10 million under its budget, which I just don't understand at all.
I don't get the hate on that. Okay, one too many cutscenes to the moon.
Well, the moon. That was my biggest issue at the time. It was just like, enough with the effing moon. But here, I was just like, can somebody show the moon? Now, like I said...
Can we get a werewolf fight over here?
Yeah. Well, and there is sort of something, and again, I don't even know that people care about it. But it just was really boring. And here's the thing is, it's also bizarre because I think it wasn't that long of a movie, and yet simultaneously it felt really overly long. And in a lot of ways, it was kind of like Hallmark Channel family drama meets some sort of body horror, which could be interesting, but it's not. And that leads me to my fourth point, which is it echoes a lot of other sentiments out there. If you had called this anything else, okay, because in the movie they talk about that the Native Americans in the region always talk about that there's a disease in the woods, and there's always sort of this man in the woods kind of thing that's a feral man, okay? And the legend's called Face of the Wolf. So if you called this movie Face of the Wolf, Man of the Woods, Virus, whatever you want to call it, then you might go into it with, again, different expectations. It's not Wolfman. It's not Universal. It's, at the base of it, it's body horror. It's much more like Cronenberg's The Fly remake. And it's nothing to do, basically, with anything that you know about any version of a werewolf or a wolfman. So I've had people say to me like, "Oh, did you check it out? Should I go see it?" And I'm like, if you want to, I guess if you have nothing to do, but
You're not going to go. You're not going to go down to the theater and like put a roadblock up in front of them. No, you can't get in here. No, don't come in here.
No, but like I said, it's just it. I guess it happened. I'm just like, did you like it? Did you hate it? And I was like, I don't know.
It was a thing.
Indifference, I think, is even like worse. Because again, I was just sort of bored by the whole thing, and they kind of telegraphed where it was going to end up by, pretty much halfway through the movie. And of course, if you want to read too much into it, it also is a critique of, toxic masculinity and the reaction against that.
But of course it is.
Well, but I mean, we can go into all kinds of like deeper stuff, but I don't think this movie is even worth it. Now, that being said, probably a lot of people are going to watch this on TV and go, "Oh, it wasn't that bad," which is fine. Again, if you called this Face of the Wolf, Wolf Virus, Virus Wolf, Moon Virus, I don't know. Maybe. But like I said, I didn't really care about the characters. There's really no story, and it's just kind of irritating. So I was just bored. So for me, it's a big no.
Yeah. Hey, look, I looked at the trailer and just got like, I just don't have any interest in this whatsoever.
Well, what's also shocking.
And believe me, I'd love to see a great Wolfman movie. I mean, I was, like I say, I like the Joe Johnston one. All right, cool. Love the original. If somebody could do one better, awesome. I'm up for it. But
I would say stay home and just go on Tubi and watch the Paul Naschy, the Spanish Wolfman movies from the 70s. Those are awesome. But like I said, this is just not anything that I think we needed. And again, Universal, you've got these properties. You see how excited people are about the theme park. You see how excited they are about the classic takes. Just do that. That's what we want. And again, this isn't, grandpa me screaming at the clouds. I think this is what a lot of people want. And if you do it right, it would be really, really great. But, who am I? I mean, I'm still on this friggin' show, so who am I?
You are Fred. That's who you are. Fred from the animal. I can't even get it out of my mouth.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Yeah, easy for me to say. The Amityville Barbie movie.
There you go.
Whew. Man, that was a rough one. That was hard.
I think for our dozens of listeners, they're used to it.
Yes, dozens and dozens. Oh, we might be up to hundreds now. We might have broken 3 digits. Yes, all
right, it's enough to. Usually, I'm giving you the 1 digit.
The double single digits on each hand.
Exactly.
All right, so what do we got? We got the other one is The Damned.
Yeah.
Which I did want to see, and you sent me a link to it, and I waited until after it expired on the 30th, and I tried to get in on the 31st. I go, oh shit, I got to watch that, and the link had expired. I'm like,
well,
damn.
I was really excited about this because I saw the trailer in the theater before Nosferatu, And I was really interested in it. And it was only in the theater, I think, for about a month or so. And so when I got the opportunity to review it on a Screener Link, I was like, wow. I think that's, like I said, the second time I've ever gotten a real movie to review. So it was pretty cool.
Late one night, when everyone was in bed, there was a knock at the door.
May the Lord protect you from harmful sea creatures and dangerous pirates.
Go.
Poor bastards.
We're not going to help them.
Helping those men will put all of your lives at risk, and I cannot do that.
Whatever wreckage can float, we'll stay close to them. There!
I've seen evil trying to get in here.
The dead can't break free if you hammer iron nails into their feet.
What happened on that ship was a terrible tragedy.
He doesn't care. I wouldn't sleep if I were you. A thing like that never stops.
It's never too late to ask for forgiveness for what we did.
It won't stop until it's taken all of us.
Keep it away! Keep it away from me!
We should not be here.
Help me! Help me!
Living always more dangerous than the dead.
Yeah, so this movie, it's set in the, what is it, like the 1800s, I think, in a small fishing village in Iceland. And at this point, it's owned by a widow whose husband had just died in the previous fishing season. And she's there with this crew who fishes off the coast of this island and presumably then sells the fish back on the mainland. And what happens is they are already having a very, very bad winter. And it's dire. They're running out of food. They're running out of, liquor. They're running out of survival means. And the question becomes then, do they call it quits? Do they just abandon this business? And the widow says, no, I need to make this work and we need to do whatever we need to do. And one night they look out off the coast and there is a foreign ship that they're not familiar with that's stuck and sinking, and they can hear the cries of the people on board. And then the dilemma becomes, do they go out to try to help them because it's a treacherous area of rocks and reef, knowing that they don't have enough food to feed themselves, let alone strangers? Or do they just simply let the ship be and whatever happens to those souls happens? So they go with the latter. They decide not to help and they just let the ship go down. So what they do then is go out and try to see if there's anything they can salvage from the ship, whether it be food, whether it be alcohol, or anything else out there. So then there's a little bit of a skirmish. They come back and dead start washing up on the beach. And in the meantime, there is a local woman who talks about the warning about the local legend called the Dragor, which is kind of a part ghost, part zombie, part vampire. And she warns all of the village that they need to take certain steps to ward off the Dragor, such as putting all the bodies in coffins, binding their arms and legs, nailing their feet together, and everyone like kind of just blows her off and, oh, she's crazy, whatever. So you've got then about an hour and a half, hour 40 of this very claustrophobic, austere, frightening, location. They're all trapped in this little hut together with this ice skate behind them and ice and snow, and it's a really, and I say cold, and I don't mean that to be funny, but I mean it's a frightening, claustrophobic, dark, creepy vibe of all of them trapped there together, and slowly something starts happening. Is it this Dragor, the monster that's come to them, that's seeking revenge because they did not save the souls on the ship? Is it their minds playing tricks on them? That's all part of the movie. I would say this is kind of like Robert Eggers light. So if you like Robert Eggers movies, it's definitely right up your alley. It's kind of and I've seen somebody describe it like this, and I agree totally. It's The Witch meets The Lighthouse meets The Terror meets The Thing. So it's interesting. Again, the costuming is really great. There's a real sense of dread and foreboding in all of this. The only thing I would say is I think it goes completely off the rails at the end. I think they had a great 85% of the movie, and either they didn't know how to end it or they just kind of went off course with the way they were thinking with the script. So I wasn't necessarily pleased with the resolution, but if you're into historical dramas and you're into, very, I don't want to say small movies, because there are a lot of scares, there's a lot of jump scares, and like I said, the sense of dread is really overpowering. I would definitely say check this out. And even I said to you with the Mire, there are a lot of ideas and concepts about, the fishing legends and this Dragor kind of monster. Again, it's sort of this ghost vampire zombie kind of thing, and it's creepy. It's super creepy. So this one I recommend. I definitely dug it.
Sounds phenomenal. I definitely want to check it out.
Like I said, I was going to see it in the theater, and I got the screener, and I was so pleased that I watched it. Like I said, it does fall apart a little bit at the end, but overall it's good. And if you have a haunt, like I said, if you have a yard haunt or you have a situation like that, there's a really cool poem that the old woman who was telling the story originally about the Dragor, there's this whole poem that goes along with it, and it's super creepy. If I find it, I'll post it in the Hauntcast group on Facebook. Because like I said, I actually thought of you and making sort of this Dragor figure and kind of putting the poem at the pedestal, to kind of like, the guests could kind of read the poem. But
sweet, man.
Yeah. So and so our Hauntcast group on Facebook, what is that? It's Hauntcast.
Hauntcast Podcast.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, the Hauntcast Podcast group on Facebook. So join in for a whole bunch of nonsense, dick and fart jokes, and
where can we find the show otherwise?
Dirty memes and all kinds of stuff.
And the show is where? Everywhere. We have
on all podcast platforms. And YouTube. So anywhere you get your podcasts, you'll find Hauntcast. Plus, it's also available. Even the audio version is available on YouTube. And I do have some videos coming your way as well, kids. I got the Cthulhu one. The Cthulhu build is now up. If you haven't caught that,
that's awesome. Yeah, that was great.
So,
and it's all free.
And it's all free.
Like
I'm not
your love.
I'm not shaking anybody down anymore.
No. Like my hugs that'll be coming up in April, right?
I'm not shilling people's products. I'm not shilling myself. I'm not trying to get you to join Patreon or any of that other nonsense. Nope. Just enjoy and share with your haunt fiends. That's all. That's all I ask. All right. Can you do it?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, I'm fine. I'm good. But,
you shared with me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. So what else is going on? That's it. So we'll see each other in
April, I guess.
April?
Yeah, we're going to do the East Coast Haunters convention down in Philly area, somewhere in the Philly area.
Yeah, it's the Western Burbs. Yeah.
Somewhere around in there. Yeah. And so we'll be down there. We'll have a booth. We'll have probably, I think Johnny Thunder will have his red Solo cups available.
Autographing.
Filled to the brim.
And hugs. Yes.
Free hugs.
Yes. And the next time we record, I will have a review of Hard Eyes, which is coming out actually next week for Valentine's Day, a new horror movie slasher Valentine's killer film. And I'm going to be checking out Lincoln Mills Haunt up in Manayunk. They're doing a Valentine's Haunt weekend on the 14th and 15th, so I can talk about both of those next time.
Excellent. You just continue to bring it.
I do. Well, like I said, I got to dial it back sometimes because, my 100% sometimes is 185%, so I've...
Yeah, you're doing way too much, and you should scale back a bit.
I really need to calm the F down. Really, really, really. All right, genius. Well, as always, the pleasure was on your side of the table.
Of course. But
Yes.
of course.
All right, everybody. Well, as always, thank you for listening. This is Johnny Thunder with
Baker,
reminding you to stay scary.
Please follow the podcast. Give us a 5-star review. Stalk us on social media. Links in the description. And visit our blog page for more show info at hauntcastpodcast.net/blog. Until next time, stay scary.
I can't leave them. I can't. Yes. Go. You live.